Rise and shine. Blooper. Rise and shine. It's time for D is for Drama. Today, I am joined by writer, actress, and stand-up comic. You can catch her on Netflix's The Lincoln Lawyer, NBC's Chicago Fire, and the action thriller Survive the Night with my father's doppelganger, Bruce Willis. Her new play, The First to Know, will premiere at the Hollywood Fringe Fest this June. Please welcome Jessica Abrams. Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How
Thank
are
you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So we got connected through one of my friends from college.
I didn't even know you guys went to college.
Yeah, we went to college together.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken, who you guys have all known from the podcast, it's one of his best friends. Her name is Liz, and she's doing some PR stuff for you, right?
She's amazing.
So
Truly.
tell us a little bit about your play.
I'll start from the beginning. I wrote it. I started writing it quite a while ago.
Mhm.
And I wrote it. It was a story about a woman in her late 40s who gets pregnant,
Mhm.
and the different people in her life that she tells.
Yeah.
And so it's a series of vignettes with each one kind of almost being a story unto itself in terms of her relationship with that person and kind of a little bit of their stories as well.
Mhm.
I had always wanted to produce it as a full play. Some of the vignettes had actually gotten productions. I knew I wanted to do it this year, and I suddenly realized I wanted to play the lead. When I wrote it, which was many years ago, I wasn't even really focusing on acting. When I
okay.
just
So you started off as a writer.
I started off as a writer.
Okay.
So I got into acting at my ripe age of like 47. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay, nice.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I'd always wanted to.
You did?
Yeah, I'd always wanted to.
Yeah.
And I actually had a neighbor who owns an acting studio, Anthony Mindel, for those who know. Yeah.
Yes.
And
I've audited one of his classes before.
okay, yeah. He lived across the street. He told me about his studio, and I really wanted to study there. And this was like back in like 97, and I didn't start studying until, I don't know, about 10 years later, to be not quite, but almost, whatever fear stopped me. But then I did, and it's been great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I kind of had more success as an actor than as a writer.
Okay.
As far as like TV writing, which I really, and film writing, which is what I initially wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm kind of doing both, I think that's really like writing stuff for myself and stuff for others. And the play was going to be for, I was going to get I was going to just basically play one of the characters.
Yes.
And then I started realizing, I want to play the lead.
Is it a one-woman show?
No,
Oh.
no. There's 6 characters, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had to do a little rejiggering in terms of just the story. And once I decided to do that, which is basically, it's about a woman who believes herself to be pregnant and the different people she tells.
Oh,
And we don't know if she is or isn't.
Mm.
And it's kind of almost like a fantasy a little bit.
Mm.
And so that actually changed the story considerably, and in a very positive way. It gave it another element. So that's the play, and it's going to be at the Hollywood Fringe in June.
Yes, it's a very famous festival here in Hollywood, like a comedy one. Pretty much, right?
Predominantly, although there's drama as well.
They're
They're mostly comedy. Like, there's a lot of comedic, kind of wacky, fringy things. But I've done, like, this is my 3rd thing that I've done at the Fringe, and I've done a straight play there, so it's possible.
Yeah. Well, it's in June. I'll put the show dates in the show notes if you guys are interested in going, if you're in the area. Now, is this, how art imitates life? Is this any part of your real life?
I mean, I think as a woman, you always wonder, I mean, yes, have we, I mean, TMI, we've all had pregnancy scares, and then all of a sudden your whole sort of life flashes in front of you of like the what ifs.
Totally.
And I think that's kind of where it came from, was sort of the what if, like, what would my life look like? And my character, Naomi, really, in some way, it's like she is living in that fantasy of basically, in many ways, having I mean, I don't want to say this is what all pregnancy is, but for her, it's kind of like having an out. It's like, oh, my life problems are solved because I'm going to have a baby.
Yes.
And how that then, how she ultimately lets go of the fantasy and what causes her to do that.
Mhm.
And then she kind of reclaims her life.
But you don't have kids.
No kids, never married. I'm not even,
Did you
I don't
want
even have
to?
plants.
Yeah.
I don't even, I don't have, and no
Honestly,
pets.
that sounds so nice.
Oh, it's so freaking great. Everyone's like, don't you want a dog? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
actually. I mean, I've had pets and, they're great, but no, not now.
All my listeners know I am the exact same way. Like, I do not want pets at all.
Really?
I probably want to have kids. I mean, I think I do. I
Yeah.
just did an episode a few weeks ago about how I'm terrified to have them. I probably
Understandable.
will, but I do feel like I'm in this weird like place in my life where I'm like, okay, I'm either going to go down that path or I'm literally just going to like do a drastic change and just live on my own
Yes.
with no drama. It sounds so nice.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally you miss a little. No, I don't even miss the drama, to be honest. I don't.
I don't blame you.
It's pretty damn nice.
Were you ever in a long-term relationship?
Several. Yes, yeah. Several. And, I mean, I'll be quite honest, like, it took up a lot of my, like, life force, like, and that was my own issues and, abandonment stuff. But when I think of how much time in my 20s, 30s, and into my 40s, and really not until not that long ago, I was, consumed in some relationship that was really not the right one for me, but I was stuck in it for whatever reasons, hormonal or otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. I've definitely in the past few years, like I look back and I'm like, why wasn't I working harder at this? And why wasn't I? Oh yeah, because I was dealing with this personal thing, or yeah, we were in this humongous fight, or I was doing this with some work stuff. Like I was just like, oh my God, there's just so much drama. And it would be so nice to just like not have to answer to anyone.
Exactly. And not have to work through like the emotional, basically do all the emotional work for someone.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it is rewarding in some ways, but I really am feeling like, oh God.
I get it.
It's exhausting.
It is. It is
really
exhausting,
is.
kids. Yeah.
Did you ever want to have kids?
I did. And, it was not like a burning desire. It was more like I sort of envisioned, like I had this vision of my life, like living in a New York apartment with like a house in the country and a husband who made a lot of money and kids. And I would be like writing during the day. And, I think the universe obviously had other plans. But it wasn't a burning desire. I think that's kind of, and then after a certain point, hormonally and whatnot, you really, it goes away. There's sort of a peak time where it's like, oh yes, I feel it. And then, I didn't act on it and it went away. And now I mean, you always, again, I think this is always the thing of the what if. I think the world we live in as a woman, both societally and biologically, we can't help but sort of, I mean, I don't know a single woman who's just sort of like, oh yeah, fine, never, it's always something in the back of your mind. Like, what if I did have kids? What kind of a mother would I be? I think of that all the time. Like, what kind of a mother would I be? How would that dynamic be? And, it's the right decision for me.
Totally. Well, actually, we have a listener write-in that is perfect right on this topic. So we'll just hop into that.
Yeah.
So I, 43F, am single and child-free. When I was younger, I thought I'd be married and have kids at this point, but it just didn't happen for me. I related so much to your recent episode about being afraid to have kids. I was someone who used to think that was exactly what I wanted, but as I got older, the realities of what it actually takes to raise a child and seeing my friends' lives change drastically started to get to me. But I do love being an auntie to all of them. I froze my eggs when I was in my early 30s, so I could still potentially have children. But again, I am single and don't have a partner. I love my job, my community, my hobbies. I feel very fulfilled in other aspects of my life. I still go on dates and pursue a life partner, but I haven't found anyone. Now here's the drama. My dad, mom, and younger brother Trent, 41M, were all out to eat at our favorite restaurant, and my mom tried to casually ask when I'm planning to have kids. I said, I don't know that I am, and she asked why. I said, maybe because I don't have a partner, plus I'm happy with my life as it is. She was like, well, it would be nice to have a little one running around. I asked why she wasn't bothering Trent about this. She said because he would have to find a woman to do that, but since I have frozen eggs, I could easily get sperm from a bank. I said, well, he could easily get an egg donor then. She said, well, that's far too expensive and he'd have to pay a surrogate too. Plus, he's busy with work. Who would take care of the baby? I retorted that I too am busy with work. I don't want to raise a child on my own, but she kept going on about maternity leave and how she could help, and I'm not getting any younger, so maybe it's time to seriously consider this route. Yada, yada, yada. I don't know. I kind of blacked out because I was so pissed. I gave her major attitude, and she let out a loud, well, I need at least one grandchild. Some patrons and workers turned to see what was going on. I threw my napkin down and stormed out. I drove us all there, so I had to just wait in the car till they came out. My mom was livid with me, and of course, my dad and brother were just silent, staying out of it like they always do. Not a word was spoken. I dropped them off, and the next morning, I woke up to some texts about how I'm being selfish, not giving them the gift of a grandchild.
Oh my God.
All of their other friends have been grandparents for 10, some even 20 years now. They're getting older and won't be able to enjoy the grandkids, even if I have them. The truth is, if the right person came along, I would be open to potentially having kids, but I am also content if that doesn't happen. I know I can't live my life based on what other people think, but I also hate letting my mom down. I feel so guilty. Should I have just told her maybe one day to get her off my back? It's technically not a lie since it still could be in the cards for me, or is it better to not get her hopes up because the more likely thing to happen is that I never do?
Wow.
What do you think about that?
What's her name? Do we have a name or an
No.
initial? I feel awful. I feel awful for her.
Yeah.
I mean,
so unfair that all the pressure's being put on her and not the brother.
I know.
Ugh, so typical.
It is typical and it is unfair. And you know what? I would not feel guilty if I were her. And I'm saying this as an older person who has, sort of navigated a lot of those waters. I would say, don't feel guilty. It is not your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It is not your responsibility to do that. And we're not yet in The Handmaid's Tale where your role is, to basically procreate. That is not the only thing you are put on this earth to do.
Mm-mm.
So,
did you ever have any of your parents or friends pressuring you?
Subtly. It's a subtle thing. My dad is no longer with us. My mom has kind of given up and, she's let that go. Mm-hmm. But I remember when my sister was pregnant and I had never in any way expressed any sort of jealousy or envy. I was very happy for her because she really wanted that. Mm-hmm. But I remember her saying to me, because I had said, Amanda, you never talk about your pregnancy. Like, I don't know any of the, the day to day. How are you feeling? What are your emotions? And she said, well, I'm not talking about it because I don't want to upset you.
Oh, I wonder where she got that inkling, just like
but
from
I know.
Society. Because
I think it's because in a way she wanted it so much that she couldn't imagine
not wanting it.
Right.
Is she younger than you?
She's 5 years younger.
Right. So it's like that, tale as old as time when like the younger sister gets married first.
Exactly.
And things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I just feel like, well, I guess in your case, your mom did have grandkids.
She has 2.
So she got some. And I can understand as a parent because my parents really want grandchildren. It's just the two of us. And I am probably the more likely one at this point to be the one to have them.
Yeah.
And my mom definitely feels this way. She's kind of let up on it after I told her stop saying stuff like this.
Yeah.
But I do understand that, like, it must be so rewarding to have grandkids. And, it's not the same as with kids. Like, you're all hands on deck.
Right.
You're in the trenches. But with you can just go and cuddle them.
Totally.
And then give them back.
Bye-bye.
And say,
bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye, Grandpa.
Exactly. And they love you.
Oh, yeah.
You can just spoil the hell out of them.
totally. There's no baggage. Hello.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's all pure love.
Exactly.
And it's biological. You
Mhm.
know, it's your
Right.
genes.
It is. So it's different. And I was
Yes.
just going to say, like, well, you can have those bonds with other people's grandkids. And it's just like, it isn't the same,
No.
really.
No.
So I totally understand that. But also, like, sorry,
Yeah.
your daughter is not going to have
Ju-
children
Yeah.
for you. When you even said so yourself, you might not even be around that long
I
for them to experience you. And then
Exactly.
she's stuck with them and you're gone.
Right.
And she's a single parent.
Hello. And also, I kind of look at it on, in sort of like an evolutionary way. Like, we are higher consciousness beings,
Mhm.
and yes, there is still the pull to reproduce and make more, but we also have consciousness, which says, oh, maybe I can think before, maybe I can make that choice. Maybe I can decide. Maybe I am not just, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I think more and more women and men truly are doing that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
because we can still,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and especially just with like society today, like everything's
Oh,
just so expensive and social media is so toxic. And that's the other reason why it
exactly.
is
Oh
really
God.
scary.
Very, very scary.
And not to mention also, not to bring it down, but global warming and
Oh
climate
God.
change and just
Everything.
like
Yeah.
if there's even gonna be an earth for them to be on. Like I think about that too.
100%.
And I'm just like, sometimes it's just like, oh, I just wish I was born like, years ago and
I know.
I didn't have to worry about that stuff. But
I
here we are.
Here we are. Here we are.
But I also do understand, did you ever have these feelings with other parts of like you want to please your parents?
Of course. And I think that's normal. Yes, you want to make your
You want
yes.
to make them
You want
proud.
to make them
You don't want
proud.
to
You don't want
disappoint
to be a
them.
disappointment. I've kind of been a disappointment from the get-go, so it's
So
nothing
you're
new.
used to
They're used to it. I'm used to, well, again, my dad's no
Same.
longer with us. So there's only one parent to disappoint, and I
Yeah.
have massively disappointed her. I mean,
Oh no.
oh yeah, massively, and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay because her, on some level, her expectations were, not sort of in line with kind of who I am and what I wanted. So,
Right. Which
sorry,
is what,
Ma,
just like a
I'm a
little
human.
bit normal of a career and like kids and a husband and things
Exactly.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Having, my mom's German, so it's like you work for the firm, and and then you have this house with, the children that you go home to, and and
Yes.
this nice husband who is building things in the garage, and no, I mean,
Garage.
that's it's like no, it sounds dreamy,
Yeah.
not
I don't even think you can find men that know how to fix
build
things
things in
anymore.
the garage. No, he's on his Xbox. He's on his, and I'm showing
Exactly.
my age probably. He's playing,
No. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
No. That's
That
about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no but you're right. You want to placate your parents. You want them to go into the next realm, whatever that is. Essentially, not, feeling happy and fulfilled, and that when they're on their deathbed, they've got, 5 people, holding their hand, and
Exactly. But also it's like enjoy the people that you do have. Like you were lucky to have 2 healthy kids who still
Exactly.
go to dinner with you in their 40s, like spend time with
Yes.
you.
Amen.
And just
Mhm.
enjoy that. And so
Yeah.
cuz you don't know, these grandkids might be shitheads. They might
That's right.
hate you.
That is so true. Yes.
And you were like
Yes.
praying for them and then they get here and they don't want anything to
You're
do
like,
with you.
fuck you, grandma. Oh, sorry. I don't know if you
No,
can.
of course you can. It's true though.
I don't want to see grandma.
It's
Yeah.
true. You don't
I know.
really like appreciate your grandparents until you're like a lot older anyway.
I totally agree. Yep.
And her saying that she's being selfish, you're being the selfish one.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, yeah, it is. And it's also like a very sort of patriarchal notion, like
Mhm.
putting that on her in that way where she is actually happy. I mean, and I think that's kind of what we women unfortunately do a lot. Not so much, the younger ones, but it's the, like Gen X and up. It's like
Mhm.
there's that skepticism and criticism of a woman who's just happy. She's not
Yes.
stressed all the time. She's not taking care of a million kids and animals and in-laws and all of this. And she's just happy. It's
Yeah.
like, that is so...
They can't fathom
They
it.
can't. They don't get it.
Do you feel like you get pity sometimes when you say like, oh yeah, no, I'm single?
Oh, no, this is the thing with my sister who does, she has 2 kids, one of whom is a foster child. And so not her not my but we, he's
part of the
he's
family.
part of the family and we love him. But, she is in her 50s with a 5-year-old. She's got,
Wow.
I know.
Good for
So
her,
she's
though.
got another older one. She has my brother-in-law's mother who lives with them. She's got a couple cats. There may even be a snake in the family. Do you know what I mean? And here I am, just kind of, there's a lot going on. And I'm just like living by myself and
doing
like
a play.
doing a play.
Doing a podcast on a Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. And she's always like, she always says to me, so what are you up to?
Yeah.
And
honestly, there's probably a bit of jealousy in there.
I know. And just complete lack of, like, she can't connect to it because she is needed all the time.
She doesn't have time for herself at all.
Doesn't have time. Mm-mm.
And it's sad that then you're the one that's getting pitied though. When you're having like a great life.
No, I am on some level.
Yeah.
I am. It's this odd combination of sort of pity and complete lack of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she asks me often, like, how are you spending your days?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, working. I mean, it looks different than your work, but it's still, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And does she ever do that whole thing of, well, who's going to take care of when you're older? Like,
no, thank God.
Like okay,
no,
good.
We're hoping my nephews like don't hate me too much, and
That's how my aunts are.
Yeah,
my aunt and uncle are child free, and they've joked since I was little because I always wanted to be an actress. They're like, well, we're going to be sitting in our wheelchairs outside of your Beverly or at the pool of your Beverly mansion. So you better get to work.
Wow.
They still say that to me now. They're like, still haven't made it
What's
yet.
Going on? Yeah. Chop.
Let's go. Oh my God, I have this pressure
now.
No
pressure.
Yeah.
God.
But yeah, back to this is like, well, he like would have to find a woman to do that. And like, well, surrogate. And yes, I do understand like that is a lot more expensive, but still it just feels like the pressure in a lot of family dynamics is put on the woman, the daughter.
Oh yeah.
That's how it was in my family. My dad's side, like it's 3 boys, 3 girls, and the 3 girls just had to take care of the parents until they passed away, and the boys are just living in different states and enjoying their lives. And
wow.
And yeah, it just feels like it's always put on the woman.
Always. Yep. No, it is, and it's a real shame.
I also feel like I don't think she did anything wrong by just being upfront with her. I do think that like her question at the end is, should I have just lied and said maybe one day? But maybe that'll get her off your back for tonight. It's not going to get her out. Like, I think you guys need to have a serious conversation of like, it might look, it might happen. I'm not saying it's not.
Right.
But also I am 100% fine if it isn't. And I'm sorry that disappoints you. Trent's a little younger than me. Maybe it could happen for him. You never know.
Exactly. I mean, I think she was like being in integrity, in the sense of like not BSing and saying like, oh, maybe, she was being in integrity. And I got to say, I think the going to the car thing, brilliant.
Yeah.
Just taking yourself out of the situation and kind of like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Setting a boundary basically of like, okay, well, this is what's going to happen if you keep pushing the subject.
Right.
And you're making a damn scene.
Exactly. At
our favorite restaurant.
I know. Now we can't go back. Yeah. They're going to be like, hey, what'd you decide to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Just, we're all kind of taking bets here.
Yeah, exactly. The staff's all in on it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry that you woke up to these texts. That sucks.
Yes, that sucks.
But again, you're not here to just live for your parents who are not going to be around as long to help you with the child. And then I'm sure she'd love being a parent, but being a single parent is much more difficult.
that is not for everybody. I
No.
mean, yes, that is very hard.
And the other thing too is that she says she still goes on dates and pursues a life partner. Okay, so then if you have a kid, not everyone is open to being a step parent.
No.
So then you also could lose out on an opportunity
Yeah.
to meet the love of your life and like live in beautiful years into your retirement because then you have a child. So there's just so much that goes into play here.
Yeah.
And life works out how it's supposed to, hopefully, and you never know what could happen, but I'd say maybe just sit her down and, maybe at home and be like, it might happen and it might not. And I would love your support
manage your
either way.
expectations. Yeah.
It is annoying that the dad and the brother are always just like, they're always just sitting back watching. But I do wonder how the dad feels, if he feels the same way, but he's just not saying it.
I wonder too.
I'm sure he does want grandkids, but
maybe not as well. And there, there's a whole other aspect to it where I think, and I see a lot of this because I spend a lot of my time in North Carolina. That's where my family is. And I kind of split my time. And I see a lot of people my age whose kids have left the house. And, that's a real loss in that way.
Yes.
And no one's ever really worked through it. So there's still, so I think a lot of the grandkids thing is just a way to sort of,
replace that.
It's like, I'm so used to taking care of everyone and now I have no one to take care of. So please have grandkids so I can take care of someone, because a lot of women, they don't know who they are without taking care of something. And I think that's very sad. That's on them and whatever. And I get how, years of caring for someone or multiple children, it kind of wires your brain a certain way, probably.
Yeah, totally.
But
because you do miss out sometimes, not everyone. Some people are very good about like balancing it, but on your passions.
Absolutely.
And so it is sort of like, okay, well, now what? I mean, I guess they have been empty nesters for like 20 years now because she is in her 40s.
True.
But still, it is, it's also just one of those things. The mom's generation is probably like, that's just what you do. You have kids and then you have grandkids.
Yeah, it's true.
And times are just different now,
Yeah.
That's just not the case for everybody.
No, I mean, look at it statistically. There are a lot of women not choosing to not even get married and not have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more power to you.
More power to you.
Because we are overpopulated on this planet,
Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could use a little less people.
Yes. Yeah, we could.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next story.
Yeah.
Now, this one is right in line with your play.
Ooh.
I, 53F, am in total shock at the moment. I thought I was going through menopause given the fact I haven't had a period in 6 months. 2 months ago, I had a period. Then 2 weeks later, I had unprotected sex with a friend. I was 100% sure I was not fertile anymore, so we didn't use a condom. Since I wasn't getting periods, I didn't worry too much. Then I started having nausea. I took a pregnancy test and it came out positive.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh
I am
my
so
God.
confused and worried. My first thought was to get an abortion. I have a grown child and a grandkid.
Oh.
To make things worse, the
You got
father
everything.
I know. You got enough.
Yeah.
To make things worse, the father is 17 years younger than me. I don't even want to tell him because he'll want to keep it, but I don't want to be in a relationship with him. He's too young. I am so desperate. I thought I was safe. I didn't even think about using protection.
Of course.
I'd love to get advice from a doctor on how safe it is to have a baby at this age. Thank you so much in advance. What do you think about
that? Is drama.
Drama. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, what are your thoughts there? I mean, you got pregnant now.
I cannot imagine because I have gone through menopause but somebody was telling me, one of the actors in the play was saying like it is possible. I guess if someone else's eggs, came in there. Anyway.
Wait, what?
I don't know. Like if you had an egg donor,
okay.
like an egg donor. Yeah.
You still could carry? I thought you had to be premenopausal to do that.
Thought so too. I thought
Someone
so
Google
too.
that for
Yeah,
us.
please. I assume never going to happen. So I get the unprotected sex part. This is crazy. I don't even know. Like it's such a personal thing. What to do. I mean, she already has a grandchild.
Yes.
This is not necessarily someone whom she wants to be with.
To raise the
yes.
child.
So,
and because they're like 35 or something like that, it sounds
so
like.
she's 53, which means that, she's going to have, when her kid is 10, she's 63. I mean,
70 by the time they're going to college.
yeah, that's, I personally cannot imagine that.
And also as like a toddler running around, like it must be so hard on the body. I mean,
Oh,
I'm worried about that now,
No, it's so hard. I mean, I see that with my nephew who's 5. It takes a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, I don't, far be it from me to tell anyone what to do, except my friends all the time. I do that too. But,
Exactly.
so, in this case, I mean, it's so personal. I cannot imagine it.
No. I mean, to have to start all the way over, like this is the time in your life when you should, in a few years, you're starting to like retire or,
That's
just enjoy your life, enjoy having the grandkid that, like we were saying, you can hand back at the end of the night.
Say bye-bye.
Yeah. So I just.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I mean, like I will say too, and I believe this, like these are your best years, I think. I mean, not that you're, but when you get to this place, I really believe that. Like when you get to this place where you don't give a shit and you don't care as much like what people think and what you look like. I mean, you do care a little, I do, but you know what I mean? Like it's just less fraught.
Yes.
So to be able to live your life, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
I will say this. It's so liberating. So then to like, and I don't want to use the word encumbered or weighted down, but then to be weighted down or encumbered by another kid after you've already had one. So it's not, I mean, I get it if like this was your first and you've always wanted it and it's like this miracle, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I remember this was like 10 years ago or something. So my mom and her best friend were in their 50s. And we were asking them like, what was your favorite time of your life? And they were like, right now. I was like, that is so nice to hear that because and they were like, honestly, it just keeps getting better.
That's how I feel.
And because I feel like the narrative in the world is always like, well, your high school years, or then it's like your college years, and then it's your 20s. Well, no, your 30s are the best. And it's like, so then it just puts in your head like, okay, well then the older I get, I guess life is just going to continuously suck.
Right.
And that's awful to hear that.
No, it's not been my experience.
Okay, I love that. Well, we did get a bunch of people commenting on this one. And basically people were saying that it's probably a false positive because she hasn't gone to the doctor.
Oh, wow. Yes.
So here they were saying, I think menopause can,
I know. Oh my God.
So she doesn't have to make a decision.
Exactly.
So I think menopause can cause positive pregnancy tests due to fluctuations in hormone. And I looked it up and it says that the pituitary gland can produce HCG, which is a hormone that's detected in pregnancy tests. Someone was also saying, they were like, not to bring the mood down, but this also happened to me and I got diagnosed with cancer.
Oh God.
And that can also some tumors that produce the same thing, like HCG, can trigger that too. So they were just like, it probably would be better if you like go to a doctor and figure that out. Hopefully it's just the menopause thing and not cancer.
Yeah.
And then someone else was saying the odds of a miscarriage are well over 50% at your age. So I think a lot of people were just kind of like, you might just get the decision made for you.
Yes. I hope so. I really do for her because that's a lot.
Yes. And someone here said, if you make a choice to keep the baby, I hope you do tell the father in case his younger age brings your child 17 more years of living with a parent. No judgment either way, just assuming they are a decent person since you referred to them as a friend. Someone also saying, just FYI, STDs are absolutely rampant in old folks' homes because the residents can't get pregnant. So
they don't use protection.
So just FYI, you should still be wearing a condom in that way. Someone else here says, not a doctor, but a lawyer. Consider also the financial aspects and what support system you have. If God forbid something happens to you, do you have guardians for the baby? We all need to think of that, especially being a single mom. So, yeah, there would be a lot to think about if she actually was pregnant.
Yeah.
There's a lot
A
going on
lot.
there.
I'm curious about the friend though. I mean, provided that, this isn't this is a false positive. I'm curious. Like, I mean, I'd like a friendship like that.
I know, it sounds
Yeah, I know.
nice.
Yeah,
Sounds really
yeah,
nice. And like a 35-year-old too.
yeah. No, yeah,
Get
no,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Get it, girl.
Exactly.
Loving
Yeah,
this for you.
I know. I know.
And he's probably loving the unprotected sex.
Oh yeah.
part.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You don't have to worry about that. But
He's
then
like,
here we
these
go.
older ladies. Yeah.
I know, but then can you imagine that she comes to him like, oh, I actually am pregnant. It's like, fuck.
He's like, I am cursed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the chances of that.
I know.
But yeah, I would say go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, should we wrap it up on one of your dating stories?
Oh my gosh. What am I dating? Yeah, I was talking to Liz about it and I was trying to figure out like the best dating story. And I there's so many dating stories that are like that went, south for various reasons.
Uh-huh.
One of the more recent dating stories was I met this guy after a comedy show. And you know how it is, like after a show, you're all, hyped up on dopamine and you're feeling great and adrenaline.
It's like a drug.
Oh, it's totally. I mean, and it's like, I need to be wary of who I meet. Like, at first it was alcohol, right? Like you got to be aware of how you're like responding to someone because of alcohol. Now it's like comedy. It's like, I've gotta, it's the rose-colored glasses.
Totally.
So, or the beer goggles, but it's not beer.
Yeah.
So I met this guy. He was not for me, was not attracted to him at all. This was in North Carolina, a very Southern guy, but have that Southern gentlemanly thing, like, walked me to my car and asked me out, called me on the phone. And by the way, anytime I meet someone not online, I consider it a coup because I hate online dating, right? So it's like, this happened naturally.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't get their essence at all via picture.
No, you do not. Or just what they're saying.
Their swag.
Oh,
and
God.
how they sound, how they smell.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. So we went out on a date. It was very pleasant. We were kind of bantering. And this was the other thing. He kept saying, like, you should do public speaking. You need to get an agent for, and, so he was flattering me, which always, yeah. Exactly.
Way to a girl's heart.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, he sees me.
Yeah.
And then we meet another time and things were very wrong. I could just tell. They were very off.
Was this a planned meetup?
It was a planned meetup. We went to some like beer garden in like the late afternoon, very off. And he started to argue with me about traffic. Because I was talking about traffic in LA and he was saying that traffic in Raleigh was worse.
Oh, okay.
I was like, LA is famous for its traffic. Yeah. I don't know if
there's
you've
one
heard.
thing we can claim.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't take that from us.
Yeah, do not take my traffic.
We need something.
We win in that. Okay, we
suck in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But we suck the most.
In traffic. Okay. So I don't know what you're talking about, but Raleigh is not it. Okay. It's maybe like, 20th down, although it's bad.
And you're like, I'm dying on this hill.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to die on this hill. And we kept going back and forth. And then he basically just got up and left.
No.
Yes.
Because of this?
Yes. He got up and left. He proceeded to sort of tell me that my body language was very rigid and I wasn't soft because I was leaning forward. And part of it was it was kind of an uncomfortable chair. So I was, using my Pilates training to not like, hurt my lower back. I was engaging my core. I was, making my points about traffic from this place.
Yeah.
And he left. He just walked out. And
without did he say goodbye?
Well, I don't know if he said like as he stood up, and left. I don't know if he might have said bye, but he just left me at the restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah.
With the bill and everything.
Luckily, it wasn't high. Yeah. Because we just,
we're just getting drinks.
Just drinks. Yeah. But it was. Wow. I was in shock. I was in shock.
So he just wanted like an agreeable woman, basically.
I think so.
After like hyping you up about how you should be a public speaker.
But that was what was so weird. It's like you're the one who's giving me all this confidence, and now I'm just kind of like in a jokey way with you. You know what I mean? But he really couldn't take it. And who knows what his day had been like.
True.
You know what I mean? But it was just everything that had happened the first date was kind of in reverse the second date. And
it was like love bombing you the first day or something.
He kind of was.
And then the veil was lifted.
Ooh, it was lifted.
And you thought you were being like kind of like cheeky and joking and like having like a fun spar.
Time. Yes, exactly.
And he just couldn't handle it.
He couldn't handle it.
And he really was like dying on, I mean, I guess you kind of both were dying on this hill of the traffic. Yeah. But I think you probably thought it was like a lighthearted bit.
I did. I really did. I thought the whole thing was kind of in fun. And it was and listen, I mean, it was probably the universe. Again, I'm saying that, but this is not someone that I really, oh God, no.
Showed his true colors.
Yeah, and just his whole look, I mean, was just off. He had like this long, like stringy hair, and he was hideous.
Yeah.
He was hideous. I mean, God knows, again, like flatter me and I'll like open my legs.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be so lucky to be able to argue with you about traffic.
Yes, he would.
He should be kissing
that
ground.
I'm very good at that. Yes. God. Oh,
wow. And then never texted, never called, nothing.
No, thank God.
Didn't say sorry.
No, but I'm grateful. I just never.
And was he around your age?
He was a few years older. Probably like, I don't know. I'm thinking about 5 years older. Yeah. So, that weird sort of gray area that a lot of men, so they're not like, grandpa, but they're not young, and they're still sort of stuck in a idea in many ways of how women are supposed to be.
Right. Totally. Well, especially like the South, like kind of has that a little bit more.
Yes, indeed.
Than some of the coastal cities, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. How has dating been? Do you go on many dates?
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I had like, I mean, this tells you the level of like, I did match with someone on Hinge recently. And this is it's true. Like, he seemed very interesting, very cool. We made plans to do the phone convo, and I put on makeup for that just to get ready. Yeah. And we did the phone convo, and I just felt exhausted afterwards. Like I needed a nap. Like that's a sign. Yes. Yeah. And I felt like he wasn't really hearing me, because when you meet these people online, this is my feeling. It's like everyone has their sort of lists of what they want, and they're sort of going through checking, like, so it's never organic.
Right.
It's never organic. So I truthfully was like,
it was almost like an interview.
It was a total interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went off on vacation in Panama, and was like, oh, can I text you from there? And, I was like, okay. So he sent me a couple of the pictures, and I have to say, I like, he sent me like, it was like the side of a building, and I mean, they were so bad, and the video was so bad, and like where he went seemed so depressing. Like, I don't know, like there was like, you know what I mean? I was like,
God, I'm an artist, okay?
Exactly.
Give me something.
Give me a better video of your vacation. I mean, even
not even
panning
trying.
up to the margarita glass. Do you know what I mean? Like even that would have been better. So no, I
put
was
some
like,
effort into this.
That's right. So I basically ghosted him. I
don't blame you.
Him. I was like, I just no.
So you never answered the video?
I didn't answer the video, and then he called a couple times, and I never. Just ghosted. I was like,
because you never even met, right?
No, we never met. And I don't, what am I going to say? Like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'm breaking up with you, but I don't have.
I can't imagine when we're on vacation together, you won't be able to get good photos of me.
Exactly.
It's not worth it. What good are you?
Yeah, really.
That's what you're there for.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for coming on. This was so much fun.
This was really fun.
I could talk for hours and hours. But we're actually getting kicked out of the studio because they double booked us today.
But we got a lot covered in that time. We covered a lot.
We did.
Yeah.
Well, please check out her play if you are in the LA area. I'll put the dates in the show notes. The first to know, Hollywood Fringe Fest. And tell them where they can follow you.
Yes, at Jessica Abrams on Instagram is probably the best.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you
Awesome.
so much for
Thank
joining.
you so much.
And thank you guys for listening. Remember, you can't spell drama without D.
Aw.